Materials. Okay. My last and final persuasive action speech, my communications class, is on the legalization of medicinal marijuana. And when you guys think of marijuana, who do you think of?
Bum Buddy.
Exactly. How about these guys? Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong. Let's do one more. How about good old Willie?
Who's Willie?
Good old Willie Nelson. Willie for president.
What's he on it?
Now how about this guy?
Montel.
Exactly right. Montel Williams. Montel Williams is an avid medicinal marijuana user. Every day, multiple times a day. How about this guy?
Albert Einstein.
Exactly right. Albert Einstein. In Albert Einstein's day, he never had to hide his usage of marijuana because it was not illegal. Let's try one more.
George Washington.
Exactly. George Washington also was an avid user of medicinal marijuana, and perhaps he used it for recreational purposes. That's neither here nor there. All right. Now, marijuana and the fight to legalize it is an issue that my parents, my grandparents, people young and old in America have dealt with for many years. It wasn't until California passed legislation in 2006 to legalize medicinal marijuana that it had given hope to Americans who had fought so hard to legalize it, if not only for medicinal purposes, but also for recreational purposes. Canada was the first country in 2001 to legalize marijuana for medicinal purposes. The whole entire country, not state by state by state. My name is Sierra Thomas. This is my final speech, and I would like to discuss the positive impact of passing legislation to allow medicinal marijuana usage. In the next 10 minutes, we will cover, approximately 10 minutes, we will cover what exactly marijuana is, the clinical trial results from medicinal marijuana, as well as what the experts have to say on the usage. What is marijuana exactly? Marijuana, defined by Merriam-Webster's dictionary, states that it is the dried leaves and flowering tops of the hemp plant that yield THC and are smoked in cigarettes for their intoxicating effect. Marijuana, for the most part, is a flowering plant. It grows naturally. It's not something concocted by scientists inside of a lab. It's first noted being used in China around the 3rd millennium BC and reached Europe by 500 AD. Today it's used worldwide, though it's generally illegal, and it was caused by the International Opium Convention of 1925. Marijuana grows wild and is indigenous, to Central and Southeast Asia. The versatile plant also grows in most conditions, making it a great crop if it were to ever pass for American farmers to consider. Marijuana is one of the most popular recreational drugs next to nicotine, caffeine, and there's one more, alcohol. That's the other one. In the United States alone, it's believed that over 100 million Americans have tried cannabis or marijuana, and with 25 million Americans having used it within the past year. This is not something that is like, for instance, prohibition. People used to hide in
Moonshiners.
exactly, moonshiners used to make it on the side. People used to hide in, I forget the exact terminology, but they would hide in basements. They would
Speakeasies.
Speakeasies, thank you very much. Speakeasies. They would drink, they would hide away from everybody, that way nobody would see them, as if it was some kind of dirty secret. Now today you can go to any gas station, any drugstore, any grocery store, and you find aisles and aisles of alcohol. Well, come to think of it, in the 40s and 50s, it was completely illegal and it's something that you would not be able to find on your own. You would have to have a dealer, or you would have to know somebody in order to get it. With well-funded research and people turning to alternative medicines, which is something that is not created in the lab, marijuana has become more popular in the recent years as a natural alternative to lab-created medications. Now, to give you an idea on the annual deaths, tobacco annually causes approximately 435,000 deaths per year. Alcohol being close after with 85,000 deaths per year. Prescription drugs. These are things that were lab created. Doctor prescribed to you in order to help you. I'm your doctor. I know everything. You have a pain. This is what you need. 32,000 people die every single year, approximately, from prescription drugs. 7,600 people die from aspirin. That's aspirin. You can walk into a drugstore, you can walk to a gas station. I have a headache, give me aspirin. 7,600 people die every year from aspirin. You know how people die from marijuana every single year? Exactly. 0. There are absolutely no documented cases of somebody dying from an overdose of marijuana. So technically, marijuana is safer than peanuts. Let's see here. The evidence is overwhelming that marijuana can relieve certain types of pain, nausea, vomiting, and other symptoms caused by illnesses such as multiple sclerosis, which is what Montel Williams suffers from, which is why he chooses a natural homeopathic drug as opposed to something issued by his physician. Cancer and AIDS, or by the harsh symptoms that are caused by the medications that are used to treat people with cancer, with AIDS, with other multiple situations. Studies have linked marijuana to Alzheimer's as a way to slow the progression of the disease and the deterioration of the brain. Marijuana has been used in the treatment of symptoms for people suffering from hepatitis C. It's eased the pain associated with the illness and helped alleviate nausea caused by the antiviral medication the doctors give the people suffering. Marijuana has also reduced spasticity in multiple sclerosis patients. Published in the journal BMC Neurology found that 5 out of 6 randomized controlled trials reported a reduction in spasticity and improved mobility. If marijuana is so safe, why isn't it approved by the FDA? That's a completely good question. In fact, THC, the chemical found inside marijuana, is in fact FDA approved. It's shown in clinical trials to have therapeutic benefit for relieving nausea, again, associated with cancer chemotherapy and stimulating the appetite in patients who suffer from severe weight loss, often accompanied with AIDS. Cannabis is remarkably safe. Although not harmless, it is surely less toxic than most of the conventional medicines it could replace if it were legally available. Despite its use millions of people over thousands of years, cannabis has never caused an overdose death. This is from Dr. Grispool. There are simply, now this is a good one, please listen, there are simply no credible reports to suggest that consuming marijuana has caused a single death. By contrast, aspirin, a commonly used over-the-counter medication, causes hundreds of deaths each year. Now this is a comment noted by DEA Administrative Law Judge Francis Young. If it could come from anybody better, I would be blown away. This is from the Drug Enforcement Agency. This is a guy who's fighting to stop all illegal drugs, all illegal narcotics, is telling you that weed or marijuana is safer than aspirin. In conclusion, to group marijuana with cocaine, heroin, meth is absolutely foolish. These synthetic narcotics have not and will not ever be shown to positively benefit a human body. Although marijuana is illegal in many states, after much research and a newfound respect, laws are loosening and eventually ending on the restrictions of this natural plant. I hope that this brief look into the positive effects of medical marijuana have answered a few questions, and perhaps helped you understand a little more on why it's a brilliant idea to legalize marijuana for medicinal purposes. Thank you.